Reviewing the original objectives. When I started describing my story of creating Open Source High, I told you to pay attention to two things. One, the large variety of resources I used as learning tools, and two, the accidental byproducts of this endeavor. To quickly refresh the many resources I learned from, here's a list of the buzzwords: books, mentors, whether teaching, programming, business, or film; YouTube, my friend Adam, my cousin Kieran, my gut instincts and feelings, lots of Google searches, news articles, journal articles, other physics teachers, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, marketing reports, lessons learned from my earlier experiences, like starting my first business or being a high school student or college student, blogs, seminars and workshops, professors, flyers on walls at coffee shops or other buildings promoting events, former classmates, observing other businesses like Khan Academy, Comedy Central, Reddit, or YouTube, childhood experiences like building websites for fun, my girlfriend, former high school teachers, student feedback from presentations I gave in classrooms, social media networking, specifically Reddit, conferences and events, meetup groups, Valley Venture Mentors mentorship program, customer interviews with students, experimenting and observing the data from the outcomes, like how many videos we got for different contests, Code Academy, Slack chat rooms, an Airbnb host, owners of onlinevideocontest.com, physics teacher discussion lists, and general teacher discussion lists. My hope is that you will realize that the possibilities outside of the conventional classroom setting are endless. And what did I learn? Entrepreneurship, video production, film, audio recording, lighting, web design, web development, press release writing, journalism, film production, digital marketing, TV distribution, script writing, video editing in Premiere Pro, graphic design in Photoshop, crowdfunding, fundraising, sales, performing customer discovery interviews, running a contest or competition, running an experiment, CSS, HTML, WordPress, Meteor, Telescope, Twitter, and Reddit. Again, these were all accidental byproducts that I never set out purposely to learn, but are all valuable skills. Now, it might feel like I am advocating for project-based learning. To be clear, that is not the purpose of my story. Project-based learning is just one aspect of self-directed learning. It just happens to be a sexy one to share because there is something to show for it. I'm specifically advocating for self-directed learning. It was my choice to pursue this project because it was meaningful to me. I seeked out all the resources that would be needed to bring this project to life. I was the one who ultimately decided whether it was working or failing. And I am the one who was ultimately responsible for the outcome. This project would not have been the same if someone else had assigned it to me as a class project for a grade. That would be project-based learning, but not self-directed learning. Self-directed learning also includes learning just for the joy of learning new things without creating a project. Just for evidence of this, here are the books that I ordered in 2014 and 2015 during the time I was working on Open Source High. This doesn't mean these are great books or that I even read them in their entirety. I'm just trying to show that not all learning has to be through building a project. A Thomas Jefferson Education by Oliver DeMille, The Teenage Liberation Handbook by Grace Llewellyn, Without Their Permission by Alexis Ohanian, Free to Learn by Peter Gray, The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, The Autobiography of Malcolm X as Told to Alex Haley by Malcolm X, Organizing for Social Change by the Midwest Academy, One World Schoolhouse by Salman Khan, Punished by Rewards by Alfie Kohn, Refuse to Choose by Barbara Scher, The Renaissance Soul by Margaret Lobenstein, The Founder's Dilemma by Noam Wasserman, The Teacher Liberation Handbook by Joel Hammond, Brave New World by Aldous Huxley, Kundalini Yoga, The Flow of Eternal Power by Yogi Bhajan. Some might get the impression that I'm saying that taking classes is bad. There's nothing inherently wrong with taking a class if it is valuable and it is your choice. During this time period, I was actually taking a weekly oil painting class that I enjoyed a lot. I gained a lot of value from having direct one-to-one coaching on my art. I also recall taking a free online course about entrepreneurship, the Lean Launchpad. It's free on Udacity, reference 52. which was incredibly valuable in learning about startup companies. In this class, there was no one-to-one coaching, but I found the content very valuable. In writing this chapter about my learning in 2014 and 2015, I find it interesting that I don't mention documentaries or podcasts at all, which I find to be valuable resources. I just didn't happen to watch any amazing documentaries about education during this time, and I didn't start listening to podcasts until last year. This isn't meant to be an all-encompassing guide to every possible way to learn, just a real-world example of the incredible diversity of avenues one can learn from. My favorite part about sharing this story is demonstrating all of the unintended benefits that came from a project that could be considered a failure. I set out to create a way for teens to not need school. I failed at that. But along the way, I gained knowledge about the education system, developed valuable technical skills, built a network of mentors and collaborators, and built a lot of interpersonal communication skills. My web development skills even developed enough during this time that I was able to begin earning a living as a freelance web developer, a job which has been paying my bills ever since. The video production skills I learned also resulted in my being contracted last year to produce a video series for an international mental health activism organization. I cannot emphasize enough that these were accidental byproducts of my efforts, yet they are incredibly valuable. Of course, the story doesn't stop here. Though I took a break from Open Source High, I continued in my fight to liberate teens like you from the school system. Almost immediately, upon picking my head up from being so narrowly focused on that project, I noticed I became more receptive to other possibilities. It was at this time that I discovered the mysterious world of unschooling and realized that I didn't need to invent a way for teens to be liberated from school. The solution already existed. Unschooling is the answer to the question I imagine you have right now, which is that self-directed learning sounds great. But how can I do that when I'm stuck at school? We'll explore this more in the next chapter.